And we are live. Excellent. Okay, let me just shut this down, making sure that I'm not doing duplicate things. View channel. Excellent. Oh, should have changed the name, but it's all love. I can change that later. Great. And let me not spill over into anything. So this is a blessing. I will go ahead and change the name later. But so for right now, hey, everyone, thank you so much for coming. Let me see who is watching. Who do we have? Wonderful. We've got a couple people here. It is 6:02. Forgive me for being late. Um, any technical things, but you know what? Let's jump right in for everyone that came, and that's at six. It's at 6 o'clock. I appreciate it. So I want to jump right in, let you know I'm considerate of your time, and we're going to also close out something. I'm not even going to touch it. I'm just going to let that go because I'm grateful that I am live and everything is going well. So we've got this here. I'm going to share my screen. Let's do this. Let's also make sure we're recording. So let's boom. Wonderful. Okay, great. Great, great, and great. And let me also mute this out so that I'm not over here. Wonderful. Okay, so hey everyone, it's Coach Trev, accountability coach. That's right. The one with the tagline, the foot in your backside, making sure you don't backslide. So that I am here and I'm excited about today's workshop as well. So this is really kind of start a series. And also this is something that I can relate to as well as you see as we go through the slides. So buckle up, type in if anyone that you want is here or not here. That should be here. That should be here and is ready. That is in that start stop trap. Send them an email. Reach out to them. Send a pigeon, smoke signals, drums, whatever it is. Get their attention. Send them a text. Let them know that Coach Trev is live. All right. And so, and for those of you that are watching, which is great, thank you so much. I appreciate it. If you're watching live, put hashtag live into the comments. If you're watching this on YouTube, excuse me, on replay, if you're watching the replay, then put hashtag replay. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. What I'm going to do is minimize this and I'm going to go ahead and get the slide up so that we can get started. Beautiful. Thank you all so much. Let's go. So, all right, and let's get that slideshow going. Let me make sure that I'm here, that it is showing on the screen, which is a great thing. All right, nope, don't want to put that over there. Let's go ahead and put that down right here. Okay, so yep, looks like it is showing. You'll see my face. All right, so the topic today is the start-stop trap. Why good intentions lead to broken promises. I'm excited. Really, this is kind of the restart of my Wednesday workshop series with a topic that hits close to home for all of us. I had done a workshop 2 weeks ago. I wasn't able to do one last week just because I was out of town for something. And so, what I want you and to understand that. So, I want to thank you for those that are sticking by. Today, we're talking about the start stop trap, that frustrating cycle where we begin things with great intentions, but somehow can't follow through. I know many of us has experienced this, and I want you to know this. This is something I want you to lock in that you, I, anyone that's gone in this, we're not broken. All right. We're not broken, and there's a reason this keeps happening. Okay. So I'm going to dive in. And as I said, for those of you that are watching, if you're watching live, let me put the chat up there so I can see. If you're watching live, definitely put hashtag live in the comment. If you're watching this on replay, put hashtag replay. Okay. So let's jump right in. All right. So before we go anywhere, let's be honest. And I want to really share this, make this really a human experience. What I want you to do, if you can relate to any of this, type yes in the chat. So if you've ever started a workout that lasted 3 days, maybe it lasted 4 days, 5 days, a week, um, anything. If you've done that, put yes into the chat. Okay. So I'm checking. Next, if you've ever bought a course or program that you never finished, put yes into the chat. And by the way, I am going to put yes because I have done that. All right. Have you ever made promises to yourself that you didn't keep? Something that you did at the beginning of the year that you didn't keep? Have you ever started something strong on a Monday, weekend was behind you, and then Thursday came up and it just stopped, or Wednesday or Tuesday, or the end of Monday came up and it just stopped? So, put a yes in the chat if you can relate to any of this. Workouts that lasted 3 days, or workouts that maybe lasted 3 weeks, bought a course that you never finished, made a promise to yourself at the beginning of the year that you still have not kept, or you started strong on a Monday, just gave up by Thursday, gave up by Tuesday, gave up within the same hour that you that because something happened. Life was life. All right. I've got my yes in there. Now, I see my yes is typed in there. Now, if you didn't type it, you're probably thinking it. See, this is a human experience and there's nothing wrong with you. That's what we're gonna discuss now. So let me give you some perspective on the problem's real because you're not alone in this. This is very common and it really is. You'd be surprised. So let me give you some statistics on that. 92% of people abandon their New Year's resolutions. 92, not 29, not 19, not 9, 92%. That's almost everyone. Okay, so there is that happens. Now, many times when it comes to that, it's about sometimes many of it has to do with health. But when it comes to that, the average person tries to lose weight 6 times, more than 6 times before they succeed. So 6 whole times they're putting in their effort and boom, nothing happens. Most self-improvement attempts, whether it's reading more, exercising, eating better, building a business, writing a book, meditating in the morning, or what have you, they last less than 2 weeks. Yeah. So if you've been beating yourself up thinking you lack willpower or discipline, stop right now. This isn't about character flaws. It's about understanding the trap we all fall into. So let that register. This isn't about your willpower. This isn't about discipline. This isn't about something that's broken inside of you, that you've inherited some particular gene or some particular trait. This is about the trap that many of us, we've all fell into. So this is what we're going to find out. All right. Over the, so here's what we're going to cover in the next 30 minutes. First, and it'll probably be less than that. First, we'll talk about the what, which is I'm going to explain exactly what the start-stop trap is and why it's so powerful that it catches almost everyone. Then there's the why, which is why good intentions, motivation, and even detailed plans aren't enough to create the lasting change. And finally, when you're most vulnerable, the specific times when you're vulnerable to stopping and how you can prepare for those moments. So you're going to get all this detail. So have your pen, paper, notebooks, whatever you need, have that ready because I'm going to give you some keys, and these keys are going to help unlock some doors so you can get yourself out of that trap. All right? So let's dive in. First, let's define the trap, the start and stop trap. Define what is the start stop trap? Okay? So it is this. It's a predictable cycle that feels very personal when you're in it, but it's actually universal. That means that it's not just you. That means that there are so many people that are going through that. That's key. All right. Now, here's how this works, the start trap. Okay. Buckle up. Phase one, the enthusiastic start. You've got all this energy, you have a plan, you're ready to execute, you're ready to change your life and those around you, right? So that's phase one. That's how that starts. Phase two, reality checks. You know, All of a sudden, after a period of time, that newness begins to really wear off. Life gets in the way, progress, it's slower than expected. You're not seeing what it is. It's taking a lot longer than you expected. And then phase three, you stop. You miss a day, you miss then another, and you miss a deadline, then you miss another one. Then you tell yourself you'll start fresh Monday, or you'll start fresh tomorrow. And eventually, you abandon the effort entirely. So here's the cruel part. Each time you go through this, each failure makes the next attempt harder. All right. You go through this cycle, and it is a cycle. You start here and enthusiastic start to stop. That is a circle that goes around. And one thing we know about a circle that unless you jump out of it, it's always continuous. It's on the same track. All right. So what happens is once you keep going and makes the temp failure, it's because you start and you stop and you lose trust in yourself. So what I want to tell you this is that when it comes to that this is not, it's not a character flaw. It's a design flaw in how we approach change. So it's not you personally. It's not something that you were born with, that you developed, or anything like that. It's really your approach, how we all approach that change, that shift that we want to make happen. Okay. So let's go ahead and definitely got it. Thank you. And I see some comments in there. Thank you so much for responding. Keep it up. All right. So let's continue on. We're talking about this. So the next part, why it feels personal, and it's the shame spiral that keeps you trapped. Here's why this trap is so insidious. It is so inside of you, feeling personal. It's that insideness, right? Because what happens is that it feels personal. When you don't hit that goal, when you miss another goal and another goal, it feels personal. Each time you stop something you started, it feels like it's proof that you can't change. That's what it is. It's like the proof is gathering. You know how you're in a court system and there's the mounting evidence. The lawyers are, you're watching one of those TV shows and the lawyer is gathering evidence to make this case. So each time you hit a failure, it's like there's more proof that you can't change, more proof. Yeah, right. Because no, and you're right. It's great in the chat. You don't like it. No one likes to fail. You look in the mirror and you say, no, I don't like to fail. It's not a pleasant feeling and it feels personal. It feels like it's that. And the thing is, when that proof happens that you can't change, that you don't have what it takes, this is what happens. You start questioning your character instead of your approach. That's big right there. Note that you start questioning yourself, your values, your belief system instead of how you approach it. So the story in your head becomes, I'm just not disciplined enough. I'm not motivated enough. I'm not strong enough. I don't have enough willpower. I don't have the people around me. I don't have enough. You begin to condemn yourself and you make yourself smaller and smaller. You put yourself in that box and you shrink. You continually shrink. And so you're beating yourself up. And so the voices that you're speaking or the words you're speaking to yourself are additional proof that you can't change. But it's more about questioning your approach. See, when you start coming up with that, I'm not disciplined enough, you start building up that story. And that story has layers, it has a narrative and has a thing, but the narrative is completely wrong. The real story is that you're using a flawed system that's designed to fail. So if you're using a system that's designed to fail, it's not your fault. It's the fault of the system, and it's up to us. This is where it's about finding the right system. Does that make sense? If it makes sense, feel free to put a yes in the chat. Put a yes in the chat. That's right, because this is hitting home. Many times when you miss a deadline, you miss a goal, that you're in that start-stop trap, you're like, what did I do wrong? And you start looking at yourself. You're looking at, I could have did this. I should have reached out. I should have sent this text. I should have made this call. You get into that should have, and the it gets higher and higher, and that proof is just looming. It's a shadow that looms over you, and it really begins to question that thing. It questions you, you know. Exactly. Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. And eventually you stop. So it's that phase three. You hit that stop. And so the people aren't working for you. Things are not locking in. And so when you take those leaps to get done, people not working hard, projects, it's not there. So that's it. It's there's that system that we're using that's designed to fail. And I do say we because I've used this. I've done this. I've been this there. So you're not talking to somebody that cannot relate to. You're talking with me, Coach Trev, the accountability coach. Yes, I've been there. That's why I have accountability. I need accountability. I do. I set that up. So this is why I wanted to push this for you. So let's continue on. Let's break this. I'm going to break this down in each phase so that you can recognize them. All right. So, talking about phase one. Phase one is what we like to call the honeymoon period. Okay. In phase one, your motivation is high, you're optimistic, everything feels possible. You know, I mean, everything feels possible. You can do this, you can leap tall buildings in a single bound, you can, outrun a train, but everything feels possible. All the things are pointing your way. You're good to go. You see yourself succeeding. You might even tell other people about your new goal because you're so excited. Now, this honeymoon phase, it usually lasts anywhere from 3 to 7 days. And I tell you that it feels amazing. Your brain is locked in. It's like, oh, great. But the challenge with this is in this honeymoon period, this is also the most dangerous phase. Why? Because it sets you up for what comes next. Phase two. Phase two is the reality check. Phase two is when it gets real. Your initial motivation, not a fan of the word, but your initial motivation, it starts to fade because motivation is like that sugar high. It spikes, it comes up there, but then, I mean, the higher it is, the bigger the fall, the massive the fall. All right. So your initial motivation starts to fade, which is completely normal and it's predictable. Just like trigger highs. It's a high and it's going to come down. All right. So that motivation starts to fade. Why? Because then what happens is progress, it's slower than you expected. Other things, other priorities start competing for your attention. And as it's competing for your attention, you're not completing project, the newness and excitement, they wear off. And now it just feels like work. Yes. It feels like work. And I'll tell you, this period, this reality to this period, it typically lasts anywhere from 7 to 21 days. And this is really what I'll call is the danger zone because this is where most people make the decision to stop if they don't stop immediately. Between days 7 through 21, that's when it stops. Okay, so that's phase two. So now you know what the what is. Let's talk about why this keeps happening because we want to get behind this because there's a reason for this. And this is why I'm saying it's not personal, it's universal. Okay? So, why is this happening? Even to smart, most capable people that have good intentions, you yourself, you that are watching here live, that are watching the replay, why does this keep happening? All right. So let's talk about this. The fatal flaw and how most of us approach change is that we rely on motivation. And motivation by design is temporary. I'm pausing because I want to let that sink in. Motivation is temporary. You want to make a lasting change, something that's permanent, but you're relying on something that's temporary, and the two don't mix. It cannot. Simply just by the terms, just by those terms, it cannot. So what happens is that we rely on that motivation. That motivation is temporary. The thing too is what we do is we don't prepare for the predictable changes, for the predictable challenges that come with any change. So we ignore and and understand the key word in this is predictable, because these challenges can be predictable. All right. So you don't prepare for that. And when you don't prepare for that, then we don't have a system for what to do when things get hard. Remember, we're talking about how our approach is, and if we ignore the predictable challenges, there's no system in place. Things get hard, we start looking around, grasping at straws, grasping at the wrong thing, grasping at temporary things when we need those permanent things. Worst of all is we treat stopping as a moral failure, like we're bad people instead of recognizing it as a design failure in our approach. That's important. It's not about your moral, you as a people. It's a design failure in your approach, which means that if it's a design failure, we can make changes in order and get a new system in place. Because that's great. It's not us. It's the way we approach things, and we can always make those changes. We can always make those changes. Right. You have to see, you got to go off that and understanding when you realize that you're going off of the energy of motivation that's temporary, it won't work. So, so let's continue on finding out what the why is, because once you find out the why, then you can make those changes. So we're still in this why phase, why this happened, why the good intentions aren't enough. So it's about the brain survival mechanism, why your brain wants you to stop. Now, here's something you may not know, that's something that might surprise you. Your brain actually wants you to stop new behaviors. That's right. It wants you to stop new behaviors. Why? Because it's trying to protect you. So, to the primitive brain, change feels dangerous. Really. Your brain is looking at it through a familiar lens and it sees things like, oh, wait a minute, we've got these particular habits, and now you want to make a change? Oh no, where our system, our comfortable system that we've been familiar with is in danger. That's how the primitive brain responds. We all have that. We all have that. That's not our frontal cortex. That's back here. That's in the back here. It's the primitive brain. And what happens is new habits that we want to form, they require significantly more mental energy than our old automatic ones. So what happens is that your brain, it prefers familiar patterns. And even if those patterns aren't serving you well, even if those patterns are detrimental to your progress, it's because familiar equals safe. Yes, familiar equals safe. So that's your brain. So it's not there. This is that survival mechanism that's happening. So when you start, your brain is saying, you know what, we have our comfortable pattern. We're comfy. Our feet are up. We're relaxed in our seat. We don't have to think about it. We've got our normal patterns, things that keep us safe, that keep us comfortable. Remember that growth. Any type of growth you make is going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be new habits. And that's something that goes against your primitive brain. So when you start feeling resistance to your new habit, think about it. It's your brain, it's not sabotaging you, it's protecting you. That's what it's doing. It's trying to protect you. That's what your brain is doing. So it's not sabotaging you, it's going off of the old. And you notice we're using primitive. So understanding this right here, that your brain is saying, nope, don't go through anything new. I'm staying with familiar. Understanding this changes everything. So it's not personal, it's universal. And this is everyone. So that's the survival mechanism. So the business hitting home, put a one into the chat. Put a one into the chat. Okay. Business hitting home for you, put a one into the chat. So now we know it's our brain. Our brain likes familiar. And so, and what we're going to do now is, along with the why, let's bust completely. We're going to throw a hammer and break the glass of the motivation myth. Why motivation is a terrible, and I'm repeat, terrible strategy. Terrible. Let me go full screen. Motivation is a terrible. Why? I mean, one of the indications that we saw already is that by design, motivation is temporary. The things that you want to do, the changes that you want to make, they are permanent. These are lifestyle changes, things that you have not done as of yet. Whether it's start a business, expand a business, write a book, get healthier, learn a language, learn an instrument. Um, if you wanted to move to a new place, if you wanted to build a house, learn a new skill, expand a new skill, these are all new. Those are lifestyle changes. It's something that the brain hasn't dealt before and it's protecting yourself. And so those are permanent changes. And you don't need motivation. Motivation is the temporary thing for the permanent changes you want to make. Okay? I just wanted to emphasize that so that we understand that the changes we're making are permanent and it's not comfortable. Okay. So let's go ahead and break that myth. So motivation comes and goes unpredictably. Now, the myth is that you need motivation to succeed. To succeed, I need to be motivated. I need that engine to go. I need something to keep going. I need to push it. That's my motivation. I need that hit. Mm-mm. Motivation comes and goes. You can't control when you'll feel it and when you won't. You can't. So here's the difference. Successful people don't rely on feeling motivated. They don't. Everyone that's successful, and I don't mean, sometimes when you think successful people, you're thinking, millionaires, billionaires. It's not about just about money. It's about those that have accomplished similar goals that are similar to yours. That's success. But those people, they do not rely on motivation. They don't rely on feeling motivated. What they do is they rely on systems and environments that make the right actions easier, regardless of how they feel. Systems and environments, the approach. So if your plan is, if your plan depends on staying motivated, if that's your entire plan of how you're going to execute, I'm going to stay motivated. I'm going to stay motivated. I'm going to stay motivated. Well, we know one thing, motivation is temporary. And so if it's temporary, your plan is guaranteed to fail because it's on a temporary thing and it's based on motivation, which is temporary by nature. Waiting to feel motivated guarantees failure. 100%. 100%. You sit there waiting for motivation. Motivation is not going to, who is it? Motivation. That's not going to happen. Okay. So that's the motivation. That's why motivation is a terrible strategy. Okay. So, and here's, and here is one of the most damaging part of the start-stop trap, the compound effect of stopping, why each stop makes the next start harder. Okay. Each time you stop something, you start it, it makes the next attempt harder. Does, my gosh, you're like, it does. It makes the next attempt harder. It erodes self-trust and confidence. And what it does, remember what I talked about the proof earlier? It creates evidence, the proof in your mind that you can't follow through on commitments to yourself. When it does, and then what happens is it turns moral. It begins to turn inward. It basically increases the shame and self-criticism. And those two, shame and self-criticism, those are motivation killers. They are there for the death of that. And if your plan relies on motivation, then it's guaranteed to fail. And what happens is, since those are motivation killers, ironically, it often makes you more likely to choose even more dramatic changes next time because you think you need to go bigger, We do. You think you need to go bigger to overcome your lack of willpower. Yeah, I need to go way big. I need to go massive. So this then creates creates an even more vicious cycle because you want to go bigger and you go bigger and you go bigger, thinking, okay, if it's big enough, then my willpower and motivation is going to be enough. That's not the case. It's compounding, it's eroding, it's a vicious cycle. And now that you know this, we know the next steps, what happened, we know what to do. So we talked about the what, which is the start and stop trap. Now we talked about the why it happens, primitive brain, relying on motivation. Now let's talk about when. And I know I said 30 minutes, so let me pick this up. Forgive me, but give me a few more minutes and let's get this done. So let's talk about when you're most vulnerable to falling into the start-stop trap. Okay. So there are predictable danger zones. Day 3 to 7. This is when the novelty starts to wear off and it begins feeling like work. All right. So day 14 to 21, this is the motivation crash I mentioned earlier. So motivation is temporary, it crashes, done deal. That's when that happens. So this is to give you some parameters. All right. And then um, day 30 to 45, this is what we call the plateau period, where progress slows and you might question if it's even worth it. Why am I doing this? What's the purpose? And finally, any major life disruptions or stress, illnesses, work deadlines, family issues, friend issues, whatever, these can derail even your well-established habits. So these are the danger zones right there. Day 3 through 7, 14 to 21, 30 through 45. Okay. So there are certain conditions that create the perfect storm for stopping when stopping becomes almost inevitable. And you maybe relate to this, and definitely glad this is landing. I'm glad this is landing. I'm watching the chat. Glad this is landing. And please comment, raise hands, questions, things like that. There are certain conditions that are going to create this storm for you. One, a perfectionist mindset combined with missing one day often leads to, well, I ruined my streak, might as well give up. That's it. Because if you have that mindset, it's like, okay, the streak is ruined. Got to give up. All right. So that's one of the perfect conditions. Another one is all or nothing thinking combined with any small setback leads to complete and utter abandonment. Either I did it, I'm all in, one small setback, and then that's it. I'm like, oh, did that pebble just trip you up? It's over. It's completely done. All right. Another thing, strong thing, having no accountability during a busy period means your goal just gets forgotten. So it's going to just swing in there because life is lifing. And the last thing is, and high expectations combined with slow progress creates a disappointment spiral that kills motivation. Now, if you can recognize all these patterns that are here, this is the first step to breaking them. So recognition, identification is key when you want to break that. So which one are you? Are you the perfectionist? Are you the all or nothing? Do you have no accountability or you have high expectations? Put that in the chat. Take time, put that in the chat. Okay? Or so this is when we get real. And many times it's no accountability, or that perfectionist mindset, all or nothing. Either way, we all need accountability. And so that's something that helps me. So now, question is how to recognize you're about to stop. What are the warning signs? All right. So there are clear warning signs that you're about to fall into the start and start trap. One, pay attention to when you start thinking, you know what? I'll start fresh Monday or next week. You know what? Next month is good. I mean, the month is coming up. It's about to close and all that, what have you. And so all of that things here, and it's wild. It's so when you start to think I'm gonna start fresh on Monday or next week or next month, that's a clear sign. No, All right. Notice when you're making excuses about why today is different. All right. Why today is different. The weather, someone knocked on the door, the alarm clock didn't go off. You start making excuses. Another warning sign. You watch when you start negotiating with yourself, just this once, or something like I'll make it up tomorrow. And and a key thing is especially notice when you start avoiding activity entirely instead of modifying it to fit your current situation. When you go to avoid something, those are the red flag. That's a red flag that you're about to stop. These are the warning signs, right? So you've got to watch for the phrases and watch for the things there that are happening. So now you know the trap. You know the start and stop. So now that you're armed with awareness, you can break the cycle. Now you know that this is predictable. It's not personal. So you can back up, take a breath, take a sip of water, and understand that this trap is predictable, not personal. You now understand that your brain's resistance is completely normal. It's not weakness, it's completely normal. It needs to be reprogrammed. You now know the danger zones you know the danger zones and you now know that they're manageable, you know. But here's the thing. While the trap is universal, everyone's specific triggers and patterns are unique. Breaking your specific pattern requires understanding your personal triggers, your unique danger zones, and designing a personalized approach that works with your life, not against it. Okay? So, if you're ready to break your start and stop pattern, if you're tired of being caught in a start stop trap and you're ready to break your specific pattern, I have a few spots available this week for a complimentary breakthrough goal setting session. Okay. So, what we'll do in that session is we'll identify your specific start stop triggers because everyone has unique conditions that cause you to abandon your efforts. What we'll do is we'll identify your triggers, we'll look at your history to find the patterns, and I'll help you create a personalized plan to break this cycle once and for all. Right? So if you want to do this, I only have a limited spots this week. So that you can get on there. And what you can do is you can just, if you're serious about really stopping this, about ending this frustrating pattern, book a session with me. Go to talkwithtrevor.com, get on my calendar. Once there, we can talk about your unique condition. Now, can you do this by yourself? You can. This is something that you can do. It will take longer. Trust me, because I've been there. So you can either do this by yourself and take longer, hit more areas of frustration and take longer to get there, or partner with someone like myself and let's make a plan for you. So book a session, go to talkwithtrevor.com. Okay? Yep. Okay. Yep. Thanks. I see that in the chat. So book a session, talkwithtrevor.com. Now, I'm going to give a few seconds, a few moments here. If you have any questions, if you want to put something in the chat, let's take a period of time here. If you have anything about what we covered. So this is just a reminder. You may have some questions about the start and stop trap. So just a reminder, we talked about the what, which is understanding the trap itself. We talked about the why it happens to everyone. I emphasize everyone because it's everywhere. And the when, the danger zones to watch for. All right. So if you have any questions about how to break your specific pattern, that's exactly what we'll dive into during our breakthrough goal setting session. All right. So if you have any questions that you want to ask, feel free to put them in the chat now. You can also message me. This will be a private message, comments, or if you have something that you want me to message you on, feel free just to put in the chat. You can put breakthrough, and I'll follow up with you on that. Okay. If you registered for this, then I have your contact information. I can reach out. If you registered, if you went to coachtrevlive.com and you registered for that, I have your contact information. I can reach out to you. If you want to really stop this frustrating cycle, book a session. Go to talkwithtrevor.com. All right, talkwithtrevor.com, open up a session. If for some reason there's a time that doesn't agree with your schedule, then reach out to me. Let me know that. Say, I have some time. Can you reach out to me? I want to be able to book a session and I can see if I can make some room on my calendar for us to meet because this is the key thing for the start and stopping. Okay? So looking in the chat to cover that. And now what I want to do is thank you so much for coming in. Thank you so much for joining me for this first workshop in this series. Yes, this is a series. So and we'll be covering this. So next week, what we're going to do is we're going to be diving into beyond day 7, how to survive the motivation crash. And so that's going to be perfect timing if you're planning on to start something new this week. Okay. So definitely make sure that you're messaging me, that if you're looking for a time here, we're going to talk about, as it says, breaking that cycle. That's breaking the cycle. It starts with understanding. That's important. For anyone that's booked a session, I'll be definitely meeting you. Anybody that wants to talk, that put breakthrough in the chat. Um, just be aware. So when I look out for you, have yourself prepared. So I can message you, we'll have a conversation and move forward and get your personalized plan. For everyone else, I want you to remember this. You're not broken. You don't lack willpower. And you're not destined to keep starting and stopping forever. You just need a better system that works with your brain instead of against it. It's got to work with it and not against it. That's key. And this is about reprogramming the primitive brain so that it's not getting and forcing you back into the familiar. It's now eager to grab the new habits you need for your goals. All right. All right. So yes, definitely. All right. I see you in the comments. I'm going to send you the link and that way you can schedule a session. All right. So I want to thank you all so much. I appreciate it. I know I said it was going to be in 30 minutes. We went over a little bit, but I will see you all next week. If you have any questions, remember, feel free to message me, to reach out, book a session, any of those things, and I will catch you all in the next. If you want me to reach out to you, go ahead and register for register for the workshop. I have your information, put breakthrough in the chat. That way I can reach out to you directly. All right. So I want to thank you all so much. And I look forward to connecting with you all next week. Be sure that you subscribe and that you hit the bells for notifications because there are videos that I put out on a daily basis. And also there might be some instances you want to get on my list because there may be some secret classes, secret workshops that are coming up. Oh yeah. September, I'm starting a group coaching program. So if you want to find out about that, book a session. I'll tell you about that. There'll be group coaching that I'm starting where it's probably going to be about twice a week. We're going to meet for 30 minutes. So if you want to find out more about that, book a session with me and I can give you the insight on how you can sign up. You can get in early before it gets filled up. All right. So I'll see you all next week. Everyone have a great and blessed week. And here's to you breaking the pattern for starting and stopping. It's not about being personal. It's about knowing the steps and being able to come up with a system to fight it. I'll see you all next week. Have a great time and be blessed.